Welcome back to the channel, man. Welcome back. So, first and foremost, I'd like to say I hope all of y'all are vibrating at a high frequency, not letting no negative energy stop y'all positive energy. And today I'm going to talk to y'all about 5 ways that reptilians feed off of your loosh, right? And I spoke about loosh previously. Loosh, if you're not familiar with what loosh is the energy that comes off of your aura when you are experiencing certain emotions, trauma, pain, anger, violence, etc., rage. It's the energy that comes off of your aura, right? So I got some notes right here, and I'm gonna just get right to it, right? So one of the ways that these reptilians, and you have to understand, right? Everybody that you see is not a real person. Everybody that you see is not a real person. And you also have to understand when people are just on their way to work, a lot of people have low vibrational energy and they're not aware of their energy because they may not have they may not they may not be aware of their energy, right? Because they're not conscious of energy. They're not conscious of your vibration and how you feel when you're getting around certain people. They're not conscious of that, right? A lot of people are like that. The majority of the world, right? And this is how these reptilians are able to feed off of your loose because people are not conscious of their energy, right? And their energy is what's being fed off of. Their energy is this food source that is being fed off of this loose, right? Their loose is the food source, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and get right to it, and I'll break down these topics and I'll explain them more as I touch each one of these points. So the first way that reptilians feed off your loose is in traffic, right? When you're sitting in traffic, those are not all real people on their way to work, on their way to their destination. Those are not all real people, right? And with technology being so prevalent and with technology being so everybody has a phone, everybody's on TikTok, Instagram, etc. It's easier for somebody to be sitting in traffic acting like they're on their phone, etc. And you have to also understand when you're on your way to work, and nobody's just going to work because oh yeah, I like my job. You know, some people like their job, they like what they do. But for the most part, people are going to work sitting in traffic because if you like what you do and you're in control of your life, etc., you're going to avoid the traffic, right? But most people are sitting in traffic, etc., on their way to work, and they're on their way to work so they can pay these bills, etc., right? And when they got to pay these bills, they already have this low vibrational energy. You just being like, oh, okay, I got to pay this rent, I got to pay these bills. That's low vibrational energy, right? And let me make sure that that y'all can hear me real quick. But you going to work and having to pay bills, that's low vibrational energy. You know what I'm saying? It's low vibrational energy, and that's energy that can be fed off of. You know what I'm saying? So, traffic is one of the ways that traffic is one of the ways that they harvest your loose by, and that's what I'm saying. When you're, and excuse me, I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit by the trolls in the comment. Let me make sure that I'm able to that I can hear this real quick. If y'all can hear me, just type a say we can hear you in the comment. Say yes or type a one if you can hear me in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Type a one. Let me go ahead and get these bots out of these NPCs out of the comment section because what I'm talking about is high frequency, right? So, and let me make sure that y'all can hear me just 1 second. I got a list of everything I'm about to talk about, so I'm not going to lose my train of thought, nothing like that. It's going to be a very informational video on how I can help y'all deal with these reptilians because everybody you see on a daily basis is not a real person. And you have to understand when you're on your way to work or you're listening to this music and it has you vibrating at a certain frequency, you have a certain energy coming off your aura. And when you have that energy coming off your aura, it can be fed off of, right? So let me just make sure y'all can hear me real quick. And I'm going to go down this list of these 5 topics of how reptilians feed off your loosh. And your loosh is the energy or you got to pay extra, or your rent just got raised $100. That's gonna have you like, damn, like with some negative energy, and that's the energy that they feed off of. All they have to do is just get around you. Okay, all right, bet. All right, bet. All right. So, the number one way that reptilians feed off of your loosh is by traffic, right? Sitting in traffic. When you're sitting in traffic, When you're sitting in traffic, and these are NPCs right here. When you're sitting in traffic, you have to notice when you're sitting in traffic, everybody that's in traffic, they're not real people, bro. They're not real people. You know what I'm saying? They are not real people. And when you're on your way to work, you already have this negative energy because you have to go to work to pay these bills. And even if you're happy on your way to work because you're listening to some music that makes you feel like you're in a happy place, etc. Even if you're happy on your way to work, you still have this negative energy, right? And that energy can be fed off of. So you're sitting in traffic, you're driving in traffic, etc. And hold on, let me do this real quick. Let me do this because when you get to talking on this frequency, and these could be them in the shit too. I got notes on my phone, so all the trolls and all this shit, the inorganic species, you're not stopping shit, bro. They're not stopping shit. And to the people that's into the live, just give me a second to get right. I'm trying to cut the comments off so I can really just go into detail about this shit without these NPCs popping up on the fucking comment section. Let's see. Bam, there we go. So boom, right? So the number one way that reptilians feed off your Loosh, and this is no in particular order, this is no particular order. This is just five things that I came to the conclusion of, right? So the number one way that reptilians feed off of your Loosh is in traffic, causing traffic, trying to slow you down to and from your destination, getting in front of you, going slow. And when they're doing that, you're gonna be like, damn, what the fuck is this person doing? Why is this person getting in front of me, hitting their brakes? And with you thinking that, feeling that, it's a certain energy coming off your aura, and that energy can be fed off of. So imagine when you're sitting in traffic and it's just bumper to bumper traffic. It's just bumper to bumper. It's barely moving. Everybody's trying to get to their destination. Imagine all of that energy, all of that anticipation that you're trying to get to work. You don't want to be late. People are road raging. That's all energy that can be fed off of, right? That's all loose. That's one of the ways they harvest your loose, right? And I'm gonna touch on all of these topics, right? So that's number one: traffic, causing traffic to and from your destination, trying to slow you down, trying to ease into your lane, tailgating you, doing all of these little things that's going to have you like. And most of the time when people are doing this road rage shit, those are not even real people now. And this is going to be a high frequency message. You have to be open minded to grasp this download. A lot of people that you see on a daily basis are not real people. And when you go to crowded areas, it's easier to overlook shit, right? It's easy to overlook if you're sitting in traffic. It's bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper traffic, right? And then when you drive, pull up a little bit, somebody wants to be right on the side of you or tailgating you, etc. These could be reptilians just feeding off your energy, right? Sitting in traffic, right? So that's the number one way that reptilians feed off of your Loosh is traffic, causing traffic, trying to slow you down to and from your destination. Because all of these ways are going to be subtle ways, right? They're going to be subtle ways. And these could be gang stalkers and all this shit too. But you have to understand, reptilians, they feed off of your energy. And they tell you that reptilians live amongst us, right? So that's the number one way they feed off your Loosh by causing by trying to slow you down in traffic, trying to get in your way, etc. Because you already got low vibrational energy. You having to go to work. You're already like fuck, right? You already got the negative energy with you just having to go to work and pay bills. So when you're in traffic, that's just a lot of people with the negative energy on their way to go to work and pay the bills. So that's a lot of loose that could be harvested, right? So boom, that's the number one way is causing traffic. Number two, and I'm gonna try to just speed through these real quick. I spent a little bit too much time on the first one, but number two is the forced interactions. So when you're in public, when you're in the store, you're in the grocery store, you're out and about, and when people try to synchronize with you, it could be gang stalkers too, but same time it could be reptilians trying to get your energy, trying to get that loose. And like I said previously, a lot of people already have the negative energy because they have to go to work, they have to pay bills, they have to do all this shit, right? Right? And they got adapted to that energy, adapted to being in that frequency. Just because they got adapted to it, that doesn't mean that they're not vibrating low, right? If you're in the house and the house smells like dog shit, dog hair, smells like cigarettes and all that shit, and you get used to that smell, that doesn't mean you're not in the house full of dog shit and hair and cigarettes. You just got used to that smell. You got used to living your life in that smell and that energy, right? So the same thing, when people are going to work to just survive, it's not like they're not full of the negative energy. They just got used to living life like this. Like, okay, yeah, this is what life is. We have to work to pay bills. They got used to living like that, right? And when you're living like that, you have a lot of negative energy, right? And that energy can be fed off of. And that's the whole purpose of bills and money and all of that shit. So it can put pressure on you. If you don't have enough, you're gonna have pressure. You can't pay your bills, you're gonna be stressed out, you're gonna have pressure on you. And all of this pressure, all of these emotions, I have energy connected with these emotions that can be fed off of in the spiritual realm. If it's beings on a different dimension and we're on this third dimension, we're just working and paying bills, as traffic, it's 1,000 people just sitting in traffic on their way to work. That's a lot of energy that can be fed off of, right? And it's set up like that. It's a system that's set up. You have to go to work to pay for the shit you want, right? On your way to work, you have the negative energy because and people are not conscious of their energy, right? A lot of people are adapted to the low vibrational life that they're living in. They're not aware of this shit. Just like I told you, if you have a house that's full of cats and dogs and all that, it's a smell in that house, right? You may not smell that smell because you're used to that smell, right? A lot of people don't know that they're living in negative energy because they're used to that frequency. Waking up, going to work, sitting in traffic, people road raging. They're used to that frequency, that energy, so they don't even know that it's negative, right? And these beings have set up this simulation like this, so you could be just doing something repetitively and it's producing a lot of this negative energy, so it can be constantly fed off of, right. So the forced interactions is another way that these reptilians try to get you. And it's not just reptilians. When I'm saying this, it's not just reptilians. I should have put this in the title. It's not just reptilians that are on this planet that are feeding off of people's energy. It's hella extraterrestrial species on this planet that feed off of our energy, right? They're on a different frequency. They feed off of our energy. It's not just the reptilians. It's other beings on this planet. When you probably have contact with them on a daily basis, and you don't even fucking know because they're in a vessel of a white man, a Mexican man, a white woman, etc. So you just think, oh yeah, this lady was just acting strange, etc. This and that. That could have been the whole extraterrestrial, whole reptilian, etc. Right? You know what I'm saying? And they feed off of our energy. They feed off of our energy. Not our, oh, we running, we jogging. I'm talking about our spiritual, our emotions. You know what I'm saying? They're in a different dimension and they feed off of our emotions. You know what I'm saying? So the second one is the forced interactions. So if you're already vibrating low because you have to go to work, you have to pay all these bills, you have to do all this shit, you're already going to have a lot of negative energy on your aura. All I have to do is just bump into you. All I have to do is bump into you, act like I'm not paying attention, act like I'm on my phone, etc. Right? That's the forced interactions. They bump into you, try to synchronize with you, get in your personal space intentionally by mistake, right? So they'll get next to you, get in your personal space, your aura. Say your aura is about 4 or 5 feet around your body in a circle is 4 or 5 feet spread around your body. That's your aura. They will get in your aura, get in your aura space, in your energy, and try to do some shit, try to get you to react, etc. Or even them just getting by you is them feeding off your energy because you're already vibrating low because you're in survival mode. You're working, you're paying bills, you're trying to survive. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Everybody's doing it. I'm doing the same thing. Working, trying to pay bills, trying to survive. Whether I'm working for me or working for somebody else, we're all doing the same shit on this planet, trying to eat and survive, right? And that's putting us on a certain frequency, certain energy. So when somebody walks into you, bump into you, they could be trying to feed off your energy or trying to bring up that energy. That what the fuck? Why are you walking to me? Why are you not paying attention, trying to bring that energy up? You know, trying to bring that energy up so it can be fed off of, right? Number three way that reptilians or these extraterrestrials feed off of our loose is the politicians, the lawmakers, right? All these people that are making these laws that are causing this energy. Like when Trump said, "Oh, I'm about to cut the EBT off, cut the food stamps off," and everybody starts, "Then how we gonna eat? How we gonna eat? Thanksgiving coming up." That's a lot of loose. That's a lot of negative energy that could be fed off of, right? And if I'm a politician and I want to get a lot of loose, all I have to do is say, okay, or kill a motherfucker, have the police kill somebody and be like, okay, yeah, Derek Schuver is innocent. Yada yada. Now everybody's gonna be, damn, he's innocent, this and that. It's gonna be a lot of energy associated with that, right? That's loose harvesting. When there's certain laws put in place or certain shit pops up like tariffs or certain shit where Trump wants to and like I'm saying, it's not just reptilians, it's multiple extraterrestrial species on this planet that are in control of shit, right? That are feeding off our energy. This is a slave planet, right? And they're only able to feed off of our spiritual energy because they have our mind under control. They have most of our mind. Most of people's minds are they don't have their mind, so it's easier for them to just be on a routine, and that routine is you producing a lot of this loose. You going to work, you sitting in traffic, you're producing loose all day for these beings to feed off of, and they pay you this currency, this money system that they created, because they can't use no money to buy the loose. They can't use no money to go to the store and buy the Loosh. It's a spiritual energy. So they have to create a system in which you're chasing the money, and they make it difficult for you to get the money in different scenarios. Okay, now you got to go to this job. It's a hard job. You got to go to school. You got to go to work, and there's traffic on your way to work. It's politicians making all these laws, all these different laws, etc., to make it hard for you to get the money. So so you have to chase this. Now you're like, damn, I got to still get this money to pay these bills, and just a lot of negative energy associated with that, right? And they feed off of that energy. So when these lawmakers, these politicians get to making all these laws, and they're not fair. Of course, they're going to be unfair, or they may even make a law that's fair, and then they just switch it up, or say, let me let this siren pass real quick, or say, yeah, we're going to cut off the food stamps, we're going to cut off the EBT, we're going to cut off all of this shit, and then they keep it on, right? That's a lot of energy. Playing with people's emotions like that, that's a lot of energy that can be harvested. And most of these lawmakers, like I'm telling y'all, these lawmakers, these politicians, most of these motherfuckers are reptilians. They're shapeshifters. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just reptilians on this planet that are feeding off the energy. But for the most part, the motherfuckers that are causing, making the laws and all that shit, these are not real people. These are shapeshifters. And these laws that they are putting forth are going to have you like, damn, ain't that some bullshit? That's some bullshit. And with you thinking that and feeling that, it's a certain energy coming off your aura. Now, if they have the masses thinking that and feeling like that with some bullshit, with a bullshit law that they know is bullshit, it's going to be a lot of energy coming off the masses aura. And that aura, that energy can be fed off of, right? That energy can be fed off of. It can be fed off of, excuse me. So, the first one on this list was traffic. That's how they feed off your loose is by traffic. Every day you got to go to work. Your shit. It's traffic all over the country, right? How the fuck is it? And it seemed like it just recently got like this. It wasn't always just traffic, just so fucked up. Like it wasn't always like this. Like in 2020, a lot of shit started changing, bro. A lot of shit start changing all over the world, especially in this country, right? So number one way how they feed off your loose, your energy, your emotions is by causing traffic, trying to slow you down to and from on your way to and from your destination, right? Number two way they feed off your loose is by forced interactions. Most people are already vibrating low because they have to pay bill and stuff. Even if you walk around happy, even if you got a smile on your face, you may have some negative energy inside because you know, like, damn, I got to pay this bill. I got to pay these bills that coming up, right? So most people have the negative energy already, right? So all people have to do is just try to force interaction, walk into you, bump into you, get in your space. You standing right there, somebody just walk up, standing all close to you, and you like, what the fuck? Or even if you're not like, what the fuck, if you got a lot of negative energy because you got bills to pay, you're late on your rent, etc. They can just be in your area, in your space, feeding off your energy. So they'll get in your personal space intentionally by mistake, right? They'll get in your personal space intentionally by mistake. So in their mind, they're doing it on purpose. But in your mind, it may look like it's a mistake. You know what I'm saying? They're doing it intentionally, right? To get by you, to get your energy, because most people are already vibrating low and they're not aware of the energy. Like I told y'all, if you have a house full of cat hair, dog hair, cigarettes, urine, dog pee on the carpet, you used to that. If somebody else walks in there, gonna be like, what the fuck is this? This shit smells horrible. But you used to it, right? You already got used to that. Most people are already used to the energy that they're in, the vibration that they on, right? So they don't know when they got negative energy or they vibrating low. And that's all by design. So these beings can feed off of our energy. Because if we know we're vibrating low, we're gonna try to change this shit. And if you vibrating high, your energy can't be fed off of. That's why when people get the vibrating high, if you want to consider yourself a chosen one, etc., you start getting attacked. So you can vibrate back low so your energy can be fed off of one. And two, so you won't be trying to spread that knowledge and information to other people to raise their vibrations. Because all of the negative energy that people feel, and you can be having negative energy just because you have a favorite NBA YoungBoy song. You have a favorite rapper and they're promoting this low vibrational shit and it's programming into your subconscious, and now your body's on that frequency, right? And then your energy can be fed off of because you're already on that low frequency, right? So all they have to do is we'll have to just resume it right here. Yeah, so I didn't realize I had so many fucking bots and punk ass motherfuckers subscribe to this shit. This is the internet, and this is, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. All right, so where was I at? So now I'm gonna have to just speak to the phone without the mic. Hopefully y'all can hear me. It's only gonna be about 10 more minutes of me talking. So I believe I was at the lawmakers. I was saying how lawmakers, etc. And if you just re-entered the live, excuse me, my phone had died and I had to disconnect the mic so I can charge the phone while I'm finishing this live. But I was on number 3, I believe, where I was saying how politicians, lawmakers, etc., make these laws Actually, no, I was going over everything because I was on number four. I was on number four, right? So number one, how reptilians feed off of your loose. One, it's traffic, and it's traffic all over the country. Just think about what I'm saying, right? I'm not trying to force nobody to think how I think, but just take what I'm saying and do your own research on Loosh and all of the shit I'm saying, right? Once you do your research on Loosh, all of this shit will make sense. Cause you just put two and two together, right? You're gonna just put two and two together and be like, damn, that makes a lot of sense. That's why we have to do this. That's why we have to do that. Cause it's the energy associated with that shit, right? So traffic is the number, and it's not no particular order. It's just a list of five, right? Traffic is the number one ways they is the number one way on my list how they harvest loose, trying to slow you down, road rage. Think about when you're sitting in traffic. When you got to go 10 miles and there's 2 hours of traffic, when you only got to go 20 miles and 2 hours of traffic, that's a lot of energy being harvested. You just sitting in traffic, and then when you try to drive, you got people just want to drive right on the side of you. That's a lot of energy, right? A lot of people are not aware of their energy, right? I already said all that, how you're not aware, and this and that. I'm gonna just go down the list so this live won't be too long. So number one is traffic. Number two is forced interactions. You don't have to be walking around mad to be vibrating low. You could just be listening to your favorite rapper that's a sellout, that's promoting the music to the masses, right? So forced interactions, number two, how they can get you loose. Number three, lawmakers, these politicians, etc., making all these laws that's gonna have you vibrating low, right? Or pardoning certain people that's gonna have you like, why the fuck does this person get a pardon this and that? It's gonna have you vibrating low. And you're not the only one that feels like that about that law, etc. It's a lot of people feel like that. And when it's a lot of people that feel like that, that's a lot of energy that can be fed off of, right? It's a lot of loose, right? So number four is crowded areas. When you're in a crowded area, it's easy to overlook a lot of shit. If you go to the mall or the airport or the swap meet or Hollywood Boulevard, it's a lot of people. All of these people are not real people, right? When people bump into you and all this shit, trying to have these interactions, these are not all real people. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the ways that they can get you loose, trying to have these interactions with you in these areas. People are already vibrating low because of the music, etc., the food. So all they have to do is just have a crowded area, and that's just a lot of energy. Just like when you go to a concert, that's an energy harvesting ritual. When you go to a concert and everybody's on that same frequency of the artist, and the artist is telling you to vibrate low on the fucking speaker, loud as fuck, programming this shit. It's speakers all around you in the concert. They're programming that shit into your subconscious. And you vibrating low. That's an energy harvesting ritual. And they feed off of all that energy. Concert, award shows, and all that shit. They feed off of that shit in the background. You know what I'm saying? No, I haven't checked out the other channels, gang. I'm probably gonna do that today. I've been busy though. I'm probably gonna do that today. Shit, you can drop the comment again, and I'll try to check them out. I'll probably put them in my notes right now. But I've been kind of busy though, or I can actually go to the live that I posted last time and put the comments on, and I'll see them. So you don't even have to waste your energy to post the shit again. I can go to the live that I posted previously and check them out. But I just wanted to talk to y'all about these how they get our loose. You know what I'm saying? The crowded areas. And number five is the 9 to 5 hustle and bustle. This is the last one on the list. The 9 to 5 hustle and bustle. They set up a system where you have to go to work and pay for shit, right? Right? You have to go to, and people have just been programmed and they're okay with this shit, right? They set up a system where you have to work and pay for shit, right? And when you're doing this on a daily, and nobody's going to work because, oh yeah, I just want to go to work and just be there for 8 hours and just give my energy to this job, this company. They're going to work and they're trying to pay their bills so they can survive, right? They're trying to survive, right? And when you're in that energy, oh, I gotta hurry up and get to work, and you may be on your way to work, rushing all this shit. You get to work, you got a smile on your face, right? You know what I'm saying? But on the inside, you got that energy. You got the energy like, damn, I don't want to get my lights cut off. I don't want to get my gas cut off. This and that, right? Or I don't want to be late on my rent, etc. So they got you locked in on this energy, right? You're locked in. As long as you have this job and you're working, you're stuck on that frequency of I got to get this money, I got to get this money, pay these bills, pay these bills. And with them having so many people stuck on it, and it's not like people are just going to work for fun. They're doing this shit so they can pay their apartment rent, their house rent, their mortgage, their car note, etc. They're paying for all of this shit that they need, and they only need this shit so they can go back to work. Think about what I'm saying. People are only paying their rent so they can live in their house comfortably, so they can shower, cook, etc., and go back to work, right? So they can go back to work, right? Most of the shit that people have is just so they can it can make their life easier while they're on their way to work. They got a new car, so now they're in their car. They It's driving better on the way to work. Of course, they get to enjoy it when they're not at work. You know what I'm saying? Of course, they get to enjoy it while they're not at work. But for the most part, all the shit that people are paying for is just so they can go to work comfortably. New clothes, so you can go to work comfortably with some new clothes. You're paying your bills so you can have water and power, etc., so you can go back to work, right? So it's like people are just in this loop, in this cycle, and when you're on that loop, in that cycle, your energy is getting fed off of. Because you're not looking at it like, damn, I'm just giving all this energy just to give this energy some more. It's not like you work for 5, 10 years and then you get to just stop working. You have to work till your ass is old, and when you old, you're not producing no more Loosh. So now you get retirement, because now your ass is old and you can't produce no more Loosh. They can't feed off of no more of your energy, so now they give you retirement, right? But while you was young and able-bodied and spiritually well and physically well, they was feeding off your energy the whole time. Once you get to a point where you can't produce no more of this Loosh, they give you retirement, right? And everybody's working these 9 to 5 so they can pay their bills. And nobody's wrong for that. People are just trying to survive. We're just trying to eat on this planet, right? People just trying to survive. And they know this shit. They know if we charge people to pay for this, or we charge people for food, we charge people for water, we charge people for air, for gas, and the only way they can get this money is by going to work. They're going to have to produce this Loosh. On their way to work, we're gonna play low vibrational music to have them vibrating low. We're gonna be placed in traffic strategically, so it's traffic. Because if everybody's trying to go to work, why is it traffic every day? Think about that. If everybody is really trying to go to work and get home from work, why the fuck is it traffic? Why is the people on their phone doing shit on their phone and all this shit trying to just drive right parallel with you? These are not real people. These are extraterrestrials, whether it's a reptilian shapeshifter, whether it's a motherfucking Zeta Gray, whatever it is. These are extraterrestrials feeding off of your energy, right? They're feeding off your energy. So the traffic, the 9 to 5, because in the 9 to 5 hustle and bustle and the traffic are connected hand to hand. Because the traffic shit, they can just be like, oh yeah, people are on their way to work. They're on their way to work. But if people are really on their, just think about what I'm saying. If people are really on their way to work, why are they bullshitting? What, aren't you trying to get to work? So if it's a species or if it's some extraterrestrials placed in the traffic slowing you up, you're gonna be like, damn, it's traffic. Fuck. But like I said, y'all people get used to that low vibrational shit. It's just like at first you probably walk in the house and it smell like cigarettes, it smell like cat hair, dog hair. You're like, damn. Second time you walk in, you like, it's not really messing with you now. It's not bothering you as much. After the fifth, sixth time you walk in the house, you don't even care no more. You walk in the house, you walking with your shoes off and shit. You comfortable in the house because you got used to that vibration. Going to work and all that shit. At first, people probably like, man, why I gotta go to work? Why do we have to do this shit, right? But then they feed you the food that has your mind more docile, so you just okay with the bullshit. They feed you the food and they put you under the frequency programming with the music, so you're not asking no more questions. You're just going to work. You're just going to work. You're just sitting in traffic, and when you're sitting in traffic, they're feeding off that energy, right? And not only you sitting in traffic, because where are you going while you're sitting in traffic? You're going to work, right? And you're only working to pay your bills. So if they have you in a state of, I have to pay these bills, I have to constantly pay these bills, I don't want to be homeless, I don't want to not have the lights on, etc. It's the energy that comes with that, and they feed off of that energy, right? This is how they feed off of our energy on this planet. And I'm gonna make a more detailed videos. I have a whole list of loose harvesting systems that they use. And each of these videos it's not gonna be a live, it's gonna probably be like an hour video. Each video I'm gonna get a board and all this shit and really break this shit down for y'all. Very informational. And I just reached 1,800 subscribers. That's cool. That's a little accomplishment, Road to 10K, road to 20K, road to a million, right? So this is just 5 ways that reptilians feed off your Loosh. If you're not familiar with what Loosh is that energy that you have. Yeah, that's what we need though. That's what we need. We need to just constantly spread this information to people. You know what I'm saying? Because and the only way we can spread this, and that's why it's like we have to use the matrix to take down the matrix. You may have to go work a job so you can get some money, so you can get some firearms, so you can get some ammunition, etc. So you can be ready to protect yourself and your family. You may have to get on these YouTube, because these YouTube platforms, these are the same platforms that made us vibrate low in the beginning, right? When we listened to low vibration of music, all the shit, the internet, this internet shit that they have, this is what made us vibrate low in the first place. It's not like they went to each person individually, like, yeah, vibrate low, you vibrate low, you vibrate low. They put this shit in front of us to be entertainment. So we have to use these same platforms to this just a little 5 ways that they harvest your loose. You know what I'm saying? With the hustle and bustle, keeping people having to go to work and repeat the process. That's a lot of negative energy associated with that. And when you got all that negative energy, you're gonna feed off of it, right? So I'm gonna just go over this list one more time, and I'm about to end this live because I'm about to start my day. I just had to say this shit real quick. So the number one on the list is traffic. They use traffic situations causing traffic, road rage, tailgating, all this shit. And most of these people that you see in traffic, especially when you see somebody with some shades, not even a real person, not a real person, reptilian or some type of extraterrestrial, feeding off your energy on a different dimension. You know what I'm saying? So they use the traffic to cause low vibration energy to feed off your loosh. They use the forced interactions, bumping into you in the store, acting like they're not paying attention, acting like they're on their phone, or getting in your space on purpose, making it seem like it's an accident. That's number two, the forced interactions. Number three is the lawmakers and the politicians making these laws that are going to have people like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And when you're like, what the fuck, that's a lot of negative energy coming off your aura, whether you say it or not, whether you're using profanity or not, or whether you're just like, dang, that's not fair. Like, dang, now the milk is $3 instead of $2. That little shit, you may have a little bit of energy. You may be like, damn, but somebody else may be like, fuck, the milk is $3 now. You know what I'm saying? And it's just two. Those are just two reactions. We have the masses. They're telling the masses, okay, the milk is $3 now. Now the masses is like, damn. Now that's a lot of energy from the masses that they can feed off. But it's just an example of the lawmakers, etc. And the laws could be, okay, now, some shit that is affected directly to you and your job. Now, okay, now our registered nurses are no longer is no longer a career or some shit like that. You like, what the fuck? RNs ain't a career. I went to school for this shit, all this shit, and that's gonna be a lot of negative energy, right? Then they feed off that shit by making these laws. Number four is crowded areas. You go into crowded areas; these are not all real people. You go to downtown LA, you on Hollywood Boulevard, you in New York and Times Square. These are not all real people, right? And when you're in crowded areas, it's easy for just like pickpockets to pickpocket your pockets. It's easier for people to bump into you. It's easier for you not to be paying attention because you're in a crowded area with so many people, right? So that's why it's good to avoid crowded areas, because when you're in these areas, most of the time it's not even real people, right? And motherfuckers bumping into you and just walking in your space, walking by you, all that shit, walking behind you, following you, all this shit. That's getting your loose, getting your negative energy, because you don't have to be walking around, oh, I'm mad, to be having loose. You could just been listening to some music that's programming this shit into your subconscious, which is lowering your home frequency. And when you at that low home frequency, when your home frequency is low, you got the negative energy off your aura. When you got the negative energy off your aura, it can be fed off of, right? So crowded areas is number four, and number five is the 9 to 5 hustle and bustle. You having to go to work, you being in survival mode, you're only going to work so you can pay your bills. You're only paying your bills so you can feel comfortable enough to go back to, listen to what I'm saying. You're only going to work to pay for your car note. What do you use your car for? You use your car to drive the motherfucker to work, right? Right? And that's just a circle. That's just a loop. That's just a loop. And most people are living their life on that loop. And when you're living your life on that loop, that energy can be fed off of. It's just a loop. You're going to work to pay your bills. You're only paying your bills so you can go to work, right? People are not questioning this shit. They're just on a loop. They're in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, you have that energy coming off your aura. I don't want to be homeless. I got to get this money. I don't want to get the lights cut off, this and that, right? And you just keeping the lights on just to keep the lights on. You paying the light bill just so you can see in your house, so you can do whatever you need to do to make some more money to keep the light. I know it's just that's what life is, but if you really think about it, it's energy. These are all systems to harvest your energy. You going to work and repeating the process just so you can repeat the process. It's not like you go to work for 10 years and then you stop. You're going to work until your ass can't produce no more loose, until your ass is 60, 70 years old, and then they're going to give you retirement because you're not producing no more loose. We're going to give you some money now just so you can die out on the planet, right? But while you're young and able, your ass got to go to work and sit in traffic and be at work for 8 hours working, right? And even if it's slow at work, you got to walk around. Sometimes it'd be jobs where, I'm speaking on for me, and I hear this, 2 other people go through this shit. It'd be jobs where it's slow at work and you have to pick up a broom or find something to do. That's energy right there. You know what I'm saying? That's all energy. So the 9 to 5 hustle and bustle, that's how they get y'all loose too, right? So I'm gonna just touch this last little touch on this one more time. Number one, traffic. Number two, forced interactions. Number three, the lawmakers and the politicians making these bullshit ass laws. Number four, crowded areas. Wherever you go, a lot of times you go places now, it's crowded, hella people. These are not all real people. They're not. Number five, the hustle and bustle, keeping you in survival mode. So you have to constantly go to work and sit in the traffic and do all this shit so you can just do it again. That's a circle. That's a loop, right? And when you're on that loop, you're not paying attention to how you feel. You're just trying to get that money and survive, right? And then your energy is being fed off of when you're in that loop. When you're in that loop, just trying to get some money and survive, your energy is being fed off of, right? So I could make this shit too much longer. I hope all y'all vibrating at a high frequency. And this live was 5 ways reptilians feed on your loosh. One is traffic. Two is forced interactions. Three is lawmakers and politicians. Four is crowded areas. And five is hustle and bustle, right? And let me, cause I'm on YouTube with 2 phones, so let me type in these channels real quick. Let me see some. Cause I'm trying to learn some shit too, always. We got 144. Let me see. TAE. I might just take a picture of the comment real quick. I woke up sick as fuck this morning. I just popped a white dude. I don't think that's. That's why it's important. We just got to share this information to our people, because our people are asleep. I'm about to do another video too. 5 reasons why you should stay out of LA. Cause that shit just threw my energy all the way on. I'm about to just sit in the sun for like 3 hours and just smoke. Or smoke, then sit in the sun. Okay, I found Tay. Seems like some shit I would be interested in too. Some people versus animal people. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I'll go ahead and subscribe to him. I'll come back later and check him out. Yeah, we got to spread awareness to this shit, bro. Got to. Got to. Cause how the fuck is we on this planet and it's our planet and people are scared to die and shit? People scared to, nigga, I'll go to war with the police, bro, but it's like, you don't want to just look like a crash out. If I just go to war with the police, get the busting on the police motherfuckers and be like, hey, that nigga was on drugs and that, you don't want to be looking like no crash out. You know what I'm saying? So I see a few of these. I feel like I've seen this channel before. Yeah, man, this shit is crazy though. So I'm about to take a picture of this. I'm gonna check out that 144 Tato. I'm gonna check out all of these. Check out all of these, man. Okay. Because nigga need to spread awareness to this shit. So I ain't gonna be up on here too much longer. Hope everybody vibrating at a high frequency. Appreciate you commenting those channels again, gang, so I can check them out. I'm gonna check them out right now. When I get up and when I roll up and all this shit, get my mind right. They gotta roll up. You know, you gotta, when you wake up, you gotta be like, damn, I'm on this planet, I'm on Earth. Like, you know, around this species, all this shit. Like, this shit is crazy. This is the lowest vibration planet we can be on. So I ain't gonna make this shit too much longer. You know, hope all y'all have a good day. To my dude Branches 09. You know, hope you have a good day. Hope y'all have a good day. Hope everybody vibrating high. And I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, man. I got another live probably today or a video I'm gonna drop today saying 5 reasons why you should stay out of LA. Cause when you go to low vibrational areas, it's gonna fuck with your manifestation process, right? You go to LA, it's gonna fuck with your energy. You ain't gonna be able to manifest nothing positive. You're gonna just be in that low vibrational energy, right? You're gonna be manifesting some bullshit after that. That's why I'm gonna make a video on why you should avoid LA. And it's not this shit on LA. You can, that's just cause I'm familiar with LA. It could be the same thing in New York, it could be the same thing in Chicago, Atlanta, etc. But I'm gonna just make a video on about, I might just even say why you should avoid the city in 2025, right? So I hope all y'all vibrating at a high frequency, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, man. Peace.